WA4GZK, Germany, Zulu Kilo in North Atlanta. The name here is Bill, Baker in the Lima Lima. I was kind of listening up and down, expecting some sort of hurricane emergency net going on. I know that the 4th region will be coming up this afternoon, but I was trying to see if there was any current activity. And I did pick up one net. Seems to be viable. They're basically taking weather and information right now. Anyway, I heard you rolling in. You're about a 10 over 9, maybe a little more at times as Mother Nature giveth and taketh away. Over.
Oh, roger that, roger that. Yeah, we were talking just a few minutes ago with Paul, who was, I think it was, up around Hanging Rock, North Carolina. Running about 300 or 400 watts out of his mobile. I think he was kind of vacationing up there, and I told him every once in a while he should check his AM or FM radio to see what the current situation is as far as that hurricane moving in his way. He didn't have much winds or rain at all at the moment, but you know, that's a fairly large front moving in, and they're talking quite a bit of rain, Roger.
Oh, yeah, well, they're talking feet of rain. As a matter of fact, 3 to 4 feet, basically in one concentrated area, which is just going to get washed out. But that's the nature of the beast. It's slowed down. It's moving. The last thing I heard, 5 miles an hour. And it would be much better for any given area at this point for it to be moving 30 or 40 miles an hour. At least it would get through and out, and the rains could subside. But it is a very large storm in breadth, and it's covering a lot of area. It's blending with some high tides, and I hate to have anything that I cared about up there in that area. I've got a good friend who has an airplane sitting at the airport in Morehead City, the county airport there, hopefully in a hangar. He's got a condo across the road from the ocean in Morehead City, and he has a boat there that's supposedly on the highest spot in the marina dry storage area, lashed down with 4 big ropes. So, of course, like he says, he's got insurance. That's what it's about.
Oh, roger that, roger that. But you still have an attachment to items, even though they are insured, you know. And I just, I can't imagine all the pressure he must be under as far as, you know, keeping his fingers crossed. Well, I mean, you run out of hands, you know, you got too many items there. A boat and the airplane and then the condo, you know. I don't know if this is facing east or not, you know, but still in all, water can be pretty dangerous, particularly a bunch of water right there on the coast, Roger.
Well, between the wind and the water, all you got to do is take the windows out, and then the rest is pretty easy damage to structure. But he's, you know, he gets it. He understands. You build something on ochre coke, and it better not be too expensive. Or maybe you keep the materials for another one in your garage, and then when the storm hits, you go out there and clear the lot and start over. I would keep it real simple, I think, or even consider if I had oceanfront property up there, I would probably rather just drag a motor home up there or a big travel trailer and enjoy the spot. And then when I left, there wouldn't be anything for Mother Nature to steal except the footprints.
Oh, that's a roger. Now, on the other hand, you know, it might be a way to get a redecorating situation done for free, you know. I mean, I assume that the condo's made out of concrete, so I doubt that the actual structure is going to go anywhere. It's just, you know, if you get a broken window, all the stuff inside gets pretty well decimated. So maybe it's just a clever plan to get some redecoration, Roger.
It's pretty expensive redecoration, not to mention the hassle you have to go through to get it all redecorated. So, You can try to put a good spin on it, but it's kind of tough to live it out. I don't even want to think about what would happen here. Of course, I've shot photography covering everything in this house, and I have multiple lists of important items in worth, and have that on file with my insurer. So if this house were to burn or to be ravaged in some way, I certainly have the proof of what all is here. And that's very important. You know, when you really need it, you can't just pull it out of thin air. You'll forget a lot of things. And by having images, you have references, and by having actual lists, you're way ahead of most people, and a lot closer to getting paid for your claim, I think. Well, that's what my insurance agent said, so I've taken care of it. I've got to redo that before long, but so far so good. And hurricanes don't generally visit us here in Atlanta, although in '95 we certainly had a visitor, and that was an experience, but we got through it pretty well unscathed, and that's a good thing. Fine on your being where you are, juxtaposed there to Kentucky. That's a pretty area up there. I've been through there before, and well, so much of this country is in the east. It's really amazing, all the way up into. I spent some time all the way up into Manchester, Vermont, and Albany. Of course, we stayed in Albany for a night, went across the river over to Bennington, Vermont, and that's pretty country up there. Went by Hemmings, which is the biggest thing in Bennington, I guess. Went on up to Manchester, where Orvis has been located for years and years, and visited with some friends up there. And so I've had a nice trip up through upstate New York and up through that area. Very pretty up there.
Oh, Roger. Yeah, and your audio is just beautiful, Bill. It's about a 3 dB dynamic range, probably running about 70% or 75% average peak modulation. Really, really good, Roger. Well,
I'm glad this is my upstairs station. This is an FT2000. Actually, a fella had this radio, and a friend of mine caught wind of it. It quit transmitting, and the guy who had it had called Yazoo, and for some reason he thought there was going to be this huge tab for fixing it. And so he sold it to a buddy of mine for next to nothing, or maybe he gave it to him, I don't know, for parts, because he also has a 2000. And my knees have been giving me fits for the last year and a half. And I actually fell here in the den, fell from the kitchen to the den, which is only 4 steps. But I managed to blow out my left quad tendon. And what the quad tendon does is, of course, it attaches the quad muscle package in your upper thigh to the bone structure under your knee. And it's very difficult to use your knee without it. So I did that July 3rd, had surgery to correct on July 20th. Unfortunately, before all of this happened, because my main ham shack is downstairs, 10 stairs down, bedrooms at 10 stairs up, I had put together this ham station upstairs, which is an FT2000 and a Tentex Centurion amp that I have. And, of course, this station will work 80 through 6, no problem, 160 if I had the antenna out there. And so I wanted to be able to operate 6 with up to 200 watts during the active period this year, and so this worked out mighty fine. And I've set it up with an MD100 mic. I also have an FT5000 downstairs and a TS990 Sugar is the other primary station in the main shack. So now I've added chair lifts, and so I can get on a chair and ride up and down the stairs. And my left knee is healing very nicely, so in only another short 6 weeks, I'll probably be getting around pretty strongly on that again. And I've been very happy to have this upstairs station to use, because otherwise, in these very inactive periods, letting my left knee heal and being in a brace, I probably would have gone stark raving mad. KC9VKV, WA4GZK.
Roger. Well, you know, I just wonder if you've got a chairlift for your equipment. I can't imagine your other station sounding as good as this one, boy. I mean, yours is just a beautiful signal and hasn't wavered. I can't give you an actual S-meter reading because we're running reduced RF in the front end to keep you know, the best signals to noise ratio, so we're just introducing enough RF to get the job done. But I would estimate that you're somewhere around 30 over, somewhere in there, maybe, you know, maybe hotter than that. Just unbelievable, Roger.
Well, that's good, and that's antenna. I'm 69, almost 69 and a half, and I've been very, very active all my life. I'm one of those who's gonna not, well, it's the old rest not, rust not thing. I've had a lot of hobbies, cave diving, I'm a pilot, this hobby, and of course fly fishing, camping, and just generally out of doors. Shooting, target shooting is in skeet shooting, and of course I also enjoy ultralight shotgunning, meaning 20 gauges, 28, 410 for things pheasant size and smaller. So I've led a very active lifestyle and enjoyed it, but unfortunately I've had a couple of twists and turns in the last 5-6 years, and they have slowed me down beyond what I would have imagined 10 or 15 years ago. But I'm staying with it. As soon as I get this leg straight, it'll be time for fall fishing and getting out and maybe doing a little bit of light gauge skeet shooting, and I might even get a hunt or two this year. Just to get that in and convince myself I'm not dead yet. Right now, I'm on a 2-element 40-meter beam that's generally licking in the northeasterly direction. It's a little bit to the east of you. But that's it. And according to this thing, I'm running about 550 watts. So I'm glad the audio works out. I have a good friend who has an SDR, and I set up all 3 stations the same way, with the same basic bandwidth and frequency response, and so that's what I stick with, and it seems to do a pretty good job. But I'm curious what you're running. It sounds good here as well, and you're 10 to 15 over here on this FT2000 KC9VKV WA4GZK.
Roger, Bill. Well, what we got here is a homebrew condenser microphone into an ART preamp, into a 3rd octave equalizer, into up top, and then it goes into a 6-position rotary switch that we can select the radio for the microphone. So this is kind of like a house microphone, and then a little toggle on, toggle off switch. And right now we're going into a Yaesu 990. And from the 990 into SB 220, and then up to the dipole. It's an inverted V at about 35 feet, Roger.
Fine. Well, people ask me about my audio chain, and I tell them, yeah, it's about a 5-foot coil cord, and that's accurate. Oh man. Well, anyway, and of course I've been involved in audio all my life. I was in broadcast business from the time I was 14. Cheap labor at that point, but it sure worked for me. And then later, I discovered, oh my God, I have a career. And so I stayed after that. It's been years now past. I think I shut down. Being in Atlanta, you have an awful lot of opportunity if you can see the forest and the trees. And so around 1985, I opened an ad agency, a small full-service ad agency. I continued to write and produce commercial matter. And then when I opened the agency, of course, I was able to go print, and I was able to integrate my own hobby of photography on a professional level. And so it was great. I had a market. I created my own market for custom photography and ad layouts. And then, of course, I was able to satisfy that through the agency. So it was amazing. And I stayed in and out of broadcast up. I guess the last year I was really involved was about, I don't know, 91, 92, 93. It could have been later than that. And then I started to, well, no, it was in the 2000s. I take it back. And then I created a small property rental company. And so I've stayed busy, and of course I backed off. I had a wonderful wife of 46 years. Unfortunately, she got caught by early onset Alzheimer's, and so after 46 years, I lost her. But ironically, in the ensuing months, I was checking up on some of my high school classmates, and my first real girlfriend in high school, grammar school to high school, had lost her husband in the preceding couple of years. And so I was checking in with her just to see how she was doing, see how she was coping. And one thing led to another, so we got back together after 53 years, and we're taking care of each other these days. So life is full of interesting twists and turns.
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah, we have a similar career. I spent 50 years in commercial broadcasting, and then after that got out before Clear Channel and got my own studio, and we did, it was a broadcast related studio, in that we did a lot of mostly commercials, and we did some TV spots and like that, you know, and so it's been a good life. Thank God it was before Clear Channel, Roger.
Yeah. Well, I'm very thankful. I was born and I came up through life and was able to live in this country when I was able to do it, as I have been able to do it. WA4GZK for idiot identification. If you go back earlier, it was very sparse, and there was a lot of struggle just to survive, as my grandparents, related to me, and that's just the way it was. And then as we came up, I was born in '49, and so I was a post-war baby. I really think we lived through the best of the times, and I know people are always trying to say, well, you know, things will get better, and I hope that in a lot of ways they do. But things have degraded a dramatic amount in many ways to get to where we are now. So, we have become a lot more technical, of course, but quality of life has suffered dramatically over the last 30, 40 years in many cases, and that's going to be something hard to reconcile. But it's interesting, as Mason Williams said on one of his, I guess it was the Mason Williams Ear Show album of about 1967, Isn't life beautiful? Isn't life gay? Oh, meaning, isn't life the perfect thing to pass the time away?
Roger, better than anything else. But, looking back, I think the thing is that we came up through broadcasting when creativity meant something. And today's individual going into broadcasting, as far as being able to have an outlet for creativity, it doesn't exist because, Clear Channel has sought to single-handedly destroy the commercial broadcast industry in America. And that's unfortunate. And that, they're doing 1,400 radio stations being programmed by 3 guys in a basement in Syracuse. It's really unfortunate that, AM broadcasting or commercial broadcasting in America has been reduced to such a low ebb, Roger.
Yeah, and if you really think about it, I remember back when AM broadcast the Clear Channel biggies like WSB here and WWL and WLW, and those stations were the kickers. And then, of course, somebody came up with a brilliant idea that FM radio would start to replace them, Class Cs, and they did. And that was a big thing. Took a little while, but it happened, certainly. And I was fortunate to be involved during that period. It's kind of there are 2 distinct periods, I think. The early days of radio and television, when the simple creativity, good humor, and all of the pioneers in television and radio. There was just so much going on from the 30s forward. And then now, I'm not sure what the heck it is. If you want to listen to music, you can go and pick it off the satellite and hear that without all the crap. And the rest of it seems to be talk shows. Pick a channel, pick a subject, pick a political view, whatever. It's out there, that and religious. And as far as news these days, TV, since they've come along with micro-sized cameras and trucks with hydraulic antennas and microwave back to the station, all of that. We used to do that from cars and broadcast. Now they're doing it from trucks, and they're doing it with TV and with choppers and radio. Shoot, man, it's just from what we knew of it, it's just gone. In fact, I'll be surprised if anything stays on the regular broadcast bands much longer. Here in Atlanta, if you need to know what's going on with the weather right now, you go to one of 2 primary television stations, and they've got radar coverage, and they use it, and they take the place of what used to be radio. And instantaneous reporting, all of that's been replaced by TV now, to the point that it's useless. You're better off to have a TV on emergency power with an antenna system or a handheld radio that will cover TV frequencies digitally now.
Oh, Roger. Yeah, it's it's just a matter of I think still creativity. If you build a creative place, they will come. Whether it's audio, video, or whatever. It's just that creativity is being challenged by frugality, shall we say, or just the inability to have any bucks. Clear Channel is so severely strapped for cash that they can barely keep the doors open. I think they've sold all of the land under their towers and then leased the towers space back. So it's really pathetic, and eventually all that is going to come to a screeching woe someday, as far as Clear Channel is concerned. And there's going to be a lot of stations that are going to be affected by that, and hopefully, they will. Some of them will, or most of them will come out on top. Hopefully, nobody goes silent in the transition. Roger.
Well, I guess we'll see. It could be that and I think the basic motivation there is just greed. Got to be bigger, better. And oh my God, it costs money to do that, and the money's not really available, so we'll own everything and wring that out of the marketplace. But as you say, look at who has the money now. Look at it from a marketing standpoint. And folks like us go to television or we go to satellite. And radio lacks it just lacks much to be desired these days, which is sad. Because when I came up through it, it was awesome, and I enjoyed it very much. I was very active in my high school in sports and in in the senior class hierarchy. I was the president of the senior class, and I was the only person that I was aware of who was 15 years old and had an afternoon drive radio show with 5 high schools listening to it. So, that was kind of a kick. It didn't hurt my ability to get a date. And I got cheerleaders from three opposing high schools to come and cut little promos for me, which was a lot of fun. So I had a big time at that point, and I just really was fortunate. And the owner of the station saw cheap labor because I was the only person he'd met my age who was not mic shy. I had my ham ticket and was general class, and his eyes about bugged out of his head, and he was thinking cheap labor, tie to the high schools. And so he gave me this sheet of news copy and said, when the red light comes on, kid, give it a read. And I made a few mistakes for sure, but it worked out in the long run, I'd have to say. And I've talked with a lot of my friends from over the years about it. And we decided that there are a lot more boring careers that you can be involved in than some facet of radio or TV broadcasting. KC9VKV, WRIGHTSVILLE.
KC9VKV, roger that. Yeah, at 15, I hopped a Greyhound bus with $50. I had the radio bug so bad, I had to get a job in radio. And so I hopped a Greyhound with $50, and about 60 miles away, I got off at let's see, my hometown was West Palm Beach, and so this Greyhound went west, and there's a place called Lake Okeechobee, and there was a town there called Pahokee, and then next to that was a town called Belle Glade, I think it was. And so I got off at Belle Glade and went to the local radio station there. It was during the summer, and they didn't have any openings, but they said, you might want to check over at Pahokee. I think there may be something there, So I had to hitchhike from Belle Glade to Pahokee, and sure enough, man, they were going through summer vacation. So at 15, man, I got my first job, morning sign-on, and then back from I think it was noon till 3 or something like that. And it was really neat. This was when the station was going through that BMI month where you had to log every radio, every record that you played for, so they could get their money. So I would always do that after I got off the shift. So I'm trying to figure out how accurate that was, but that was my beginning there. At 15, at station was called WRIM. It was right on the rim of Lake Okeechobee. Roger.
Yeah. Well, everybody's got to have a start, and I didn't. Well, I appreciated it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I dated my first, my only wife to this point. She was long distance. She was about 35 miles away. We ran into each other, and it didn't take long for us to connect. And so we decided we were going to get married, but it was fun because she could hear the station I was on at that distance. And so I was able to get little messages through and play particular things. And you know, it's a very personal thing when you're at the other end and know what's coming and why. But it was a lot of fun. It was an extension of ham radio. And I enjoyed it immensely. And I have a lot of friends from that period, from my early year, first, second, third year. There are probably a dozen of us we still keep in touch from that period, hams from that period, and have a good time with it. Oh, man. Well, let's see. Oh, as you can tell, I'm highly motivated. I had to go to the doctor's office this morning. I wanted to go ahead and get my GP to pull some blood and send it into the lab. I've got a physical coming up, and I got back. Of course, I fasted and had some breakfast and the first mug of coffee, and I set the second mug of coffee here to bring down to where I'm sitting right now, and it's still sitting there. And I was wondering why I haven't waked up any faster than I have. That would be the explanation for it. But yeah, I was looking forward to today. Yesterday I ran all day, and screwed up knee notwithstanding, I was out there amongst the traffic and getting things done. Today, I woke up and it occurred to me after running in to see my doc, I don't have anything I actually have to do all afternoon. And so that's wonderful. I'm gonna enjoy it, and I am enjoying it now. But I'm gonna enjoy it, and as the afternoon rolls on, it will be nice to take it easy. And then tomorrow, they've pushed the Georgia game up to 12 o'clock, so we'll have a noontime appearance. It won't be a heavy-duty game. We're playing MTSU, which is Middle Tennessee State, and that's I don't know why we've got them in the schedule other than it's sort of a breather going into the next few games, which will be a lot stronger to deal with. But we're real pleased. I graduated from UGA, and Athens was where my second and third stations in my career were. And that was back in what I would call the heyday of owner-operators. We had just a kicking AM station in Athens that up until the mid-'70s, early '80s was just dominated things, and it was a wonderful place. I worked there, was on air, did some news in addition to that, and sports. And that was one of my most fun assignments in the business. But I think back, and I remember most of what's transpired with a lot of appreciation for it, because it's been interesting. And of course, before it was all over with, I ended up here back in Atlanta by 1978, and I stayed here. This is where I was born, so it was good to come back here. And I've been here ever since. Let me kick it back to you, and you might be getting ready for lunch or something. I'm staring at this cup of coffee. I think I'm going to heat it up and sip on it and try to decide what I'm going to do with the rest of today. KC9VKV, it's been a pleasure to run into you, Jim, and always enjoy chatting with a fellow current or ex-broadcaster, WA4GZK.
Roger, Bill. Call is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor VKV. And my pleasure. 3 is that away, sir. And we are doing our Qso-Vlog recording this Friday morning, and so we will be posting our Qso here in the next couple of days. So if you happen to be go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. That will bring up our Qso-Vlog page, and We'll be labeling this program with today's date. 9/14/18 will be in the title, and also the frequency 7189. So usually we have too many call signs to put all the call signs in the title. So this will have the date and the frequency, so you'll be able to tell which one is which. So 3 is that way, Bill. Really enjoyed it, and you have a real good day. Stay healthy. Remember, as you get older, it takes 3 times longer to heal than what it used to when we were puppies. So do exercise caution there. That's the word, because you don't want to spend a lot of time recuperating, but obviously better recuperating than not. Anyway, the 3's Bill, and we'll catch you later. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor.
Okay, well, you don't feel like you have to put that up on me. I've had enough feedback for thousands and thousands of hours. I don't even think about it anymore. But if the rig's working and it's bearable, that's a fine thing. And so well, anyway, it's good to meet you. You have a good day, and who knows, before we die, we may see the trend in broadcast reverse itself. When the clear channels of the world explode and they can't justify existence anymore. I've still got a buddy who owns a couple of stations out there and is an owner-operator, and he works hard. But we may see it all turn around, see them break up, see owner-operators show up again and care about what they're doing and having it be an extension of their names and their reputations again, and you never can tell. Things can certainly come full circle. And I thought I got your call right. Maybe I didn't. KC9 Victor Kilo Victor, WA4GZK 73.
Roger, Bill. 3's that away, sir. And, hopefully the broadcast industry will be a lot better with the demise of Clear Channel iHeartRadio when it occurs. Hopefully the broadcast station is 1400, I think. Hopefully they will have a soft landing when all that goes south. 3's to you. Catch you later. KC9VKV, Clear.